bookworm,
and he lived on Charing Cross. The memory of his volumes brings a smile. He would read me lots of stories when he wasn't on the source. Now I'd like to share the wisdom of my favorite bibliophile. He said, cover is not the book, so I open it up and take a look. 'Cause under the covers one discovers that the king may be a crook. Chapter titles are like signs, and if you read between the lines, you'll find your first impression was mistook. For a cover is nice, but a cover is not the book.
Mary Poppins, could you give us an example?
Certainly. Nelly Rubina was made of wood, but what could not be seen was snow. When Trocop's top was barren, well, her roots were lush and green. So was spring when Mr. Hickory saw her blossoms blooming there. It grew despite her bark, and now there's seedlings everywhere. Which proves that cover is not the book, so open it up and take a look. 'Cause under the covers one discovers that the king may be a crook.
Chapter titles are like signs,
And if you read between the lines, you'll find your first impression was mistook.
or a cover is nice, but a cover is not the book. Shall we do the one about the wealthy widow?
By all means.
Always love that one.
Oh, go on then.
Lady Hyacinth McCall put all her treasures to a ring.
Bless she only wore a smile.
Lost two feathers.
So no one tried to rob her, 'cause she barely wore a stick.
But when you're in your birthday suit, there ain't much there to show you're rich. Oh, cover is not the book, so open it up and take a look. 'Cause under the covers one discovers that the king may be a king. Your first impression was mistook. For a cover is nice, but a cover is not the book.
Oh, give us the one about the dirty rascal, why don't you?
Isn't that one a bit long?
Well, the quicker you're into it, the quicker you're out of it.
Once upon a time in a nursery rhyme there was a castle with a king hiding in a wing, because he never went to school to learn a single thing. He had scepters and swords and a parliament of lords, but on the inside he was sad, because he never had a wisdom for numbers, a wisdom for words. Though his crown was quite immense, his brain was smaller than a bird's. So the queen of the nation made a royal proclamation to the misses and the messers, the more or lessers, bring me all the land's professors. Then she went to the hairdressers, and they came from the east and they came from the south. From each college they put knowledge from their brains into his mouth, but the king couldn't learn, so each professor met their fate. For the queen had their heads removed and placed upon the gate, and on that date I stayed their words, I got a note, the mate was now the late great. But then suddenly one day a stranger started him to sing. He said, I'm the dirty rascal and I'm here to teach the king. And the queen clutched the jewels, for she hated royal fools. But this fool had some rules they really ought to teach in schools. Like, you'll be a happy king if you enjoy the things you've got. You should never try to be the kind of person that you're not. So they sang and they laughed, for the king had found a friend. And they ran on to a rainbow for the story's perfect end. So the moral is you mustn't let the outside be the guide, for it's not so cut and dried. Well, unless it's Dr. Jekyll, then you better hide. Petrified! No, the truth can't be denied, as I now have testified. All that really counts and matters is the special stuff inside. Oh, a cover is not the book, so open it up and take a look. 'Cause under the covers one discovers that the king may be a crook.
So please listen to what we've said.
And open a book tonight in bed. So one more time before we get the